Hello again there folks, Lone Adventurer here. Thank you very much for stumbling your way upon my channel and joining me for this adventure. Today I'm continuing my playthrough of Tenebris, The Dark Minds of the Forsaken King from Heni Puskas. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that your name, Heni, at least in the right ballpark, if not correctly. And actually, somebody did point out in the comments of the last video that it's not Tenebris, it's probably Tenebris. But yeah, I'm just going to avoid saying the name of the game too much and embarrassing myself further. If you have not yet seen part 1 of this playthrough, there will be a link up in the corner of the screen right about now and in the description down below. And I would recommend checking that out before you watch this part. Although maybe you just like to get straight into the action, and if that is the case, watching this part would be no bad move. So where are we at? We have not done a huge amount of exploring, to be honest. We have gone through 4 different chambers. Our hero, Tenrik, has made his way back into chamber number 2 here. And we've got 2 onward routes that we can take in order to continue exploring the Dark Mines. Now we do have a quest that we're doing. It seems I didn't write that quest down, which was a bit of a foolish move. I do remember that we were going to fight a dungeon lord. I don't remember which of the dungeon lords it was. I've got a feeling it's Ziratha the Lizard Queen. In fact, I'm fairly sure it is, but if we do get to the point where we are going to fight the Dungeon Lord and we have to make our way all the way up to this corner over here in order to do so, I will check the last video and remind myself who it is just to be certain. So for now, all there is left to do is to crack on and get deeper into the Dark Mines. Just a little reminder to me, because I forgot, chainmail allows us to reduce the damage Tenrik receives during combat. I completely ignored that. We've got a firebolt scroll. That might be good if we get ourselves into a pickle with a large enemy. And because we are of goblin ancestry, we get +2 to our first attack roll in each combat. And that we definitely need to remember. So we're going to go on into a new room. We need to roll our light timer dice to check to see whether our torch is going to reduce in size, and we're currently on D10 for that. So if we roll a 1, that's a bad thing, but no, we rolled a 4 and that's all good. Then we're going to roll on this exits table here to see what the next room is going to look like. Oh, we need to roll for room type as well. Let's roll for room type first. 4 gives us a weak monster, goody goody. And 3 gives us a route with a single onward path to the right of where we are entering. So we'll say we went over this way, I forgot to say. This is area number 5 that we have gone into. And we need to roll up a weak monster. And that is a D10 table. 7 gives us a giant bat. That's what we had in the last combat as well. Starts with 7 HP. No special abilities. Does 1d4 damage and has a difficulty roll of 10. So our strength is -1, so we're going to be rolling a D20. 6. -1 is 5, but we're adding on 2 because it's our first combat, which takes it up to 7. However, the difficulty roll is 10 on the old giant bat, so we are under the difficulty roll, which means we take damage. And it's going to be 1d4 damage. I'm going to do half of a d8. So that is 4 points of damage. However, I'm now remembering our armour, which is good news. Yeah, so I guess we just get to absorb 1d4 damage. 1. That's a bit of a shame. So we've taken 3 points of damage from this giant bat in our first room of the playthrough, of this part of the playthrough. Oh dear, hopefully our luck is going to change. 16 -1 is 15, so that is above, which I'm guessing means we get to do damage. Of course it means we get to do damage. Yeah, how much damage are we doing at the moment? We are using our longsword, which is d6 +1 damage. 6 plus 1 is 7. That's nice. Enough to kill the old giant bat. We then add its difficulty roll to our XP. So that's a sweet 10 additional points of XP, taking us up to 24. So that's good. We could increase a stat from +1 to +2. Oh, 10 points, increase a stat by 1 up to +1. So we could increase our strength. What's int used for again? I can't quite remember within the mechanics of the game. I'm not too sure, but it's probably a good idea to increase it anyway. So maybe we're going to do that. We're going to spend 20 points, leaving us with 4 XP. And that's going to bring our strength to 0. So at least we're not subtracting anything during combat. And we'll take our int to -1. Alrighty, good. On to another room. So we'll carry on this route into the next room. Roll the d10 to check the torch. 8, that is fine. Then we're going to roll to see what room type we've got going on. 5 gives us another weak monster. Room shape. 8, we've got a crossroads essentially with a route going on in every direction. Obviously it's going to be a dead end over this way and actually a dead end over that way. So a bit of a shame, bit of a waste there. Pity I wasn't going up that way and we would have opened up the mine beautifully. But at least it's not a dead end. And we've got another weak monster. Lots of weak monsters in this dungeon here. This one is a bugbear. Difficulty roll of 8, HP of 8, damage 1d4, and it's got a special. Sneaking. Oh, the bugbear sneaks up on us. We are surprised. Take 1d4 damage before the fight begins, and a shield won't absorb it. That is annoying. A shield won't absorb it. That means that, to me, that means that armor can. And we're only taking 2 points of damage. How much are we able to absorb with our armor? Just 1. So we're taking 1 point of damage to 6. Are we able to rest in the dungeon? Or can we only heal using items and things? Yeah, I don't see any built-in sort of resting mechanic. But if our character dies, then we are able to sort of demonstrate these interesting rules around character death. And that's when we use the soul stones to sort of come back to life, essentially. And we can use 10 XP to fully heal. So actually, if we survive this fight with the bugbear, then we will have enough XP to fully heal our character. Right, here we go into the actual combat. Remember, we're adding on +2 for the first roll because we're a goblin. 15, so that is more than the difficulty roll level of 8. We're doing d6 +2 damage. +2, +1, d6 +1. 5 +1 is 6. Takes the bugbear down to 2. Another round of combat. 9. That is greater than the difficulty roll of 8. I think you've got to be there or higher. Anyway, we're higher, so it doesn't matter. So we get to do some more damage. And it was always going to be enough, actually, to defeat the bugbear. We get 8 XP. So despite sneaking up on us, the bugbear was dispatched adequately. And we're going to, as I said, are we going to? Because we'd be going up to 14. That's probably a good idea, isn't it? Or do we want to hold off for one more combat? We are then, of course, risking being killed by something scary. But that's the gamble you take, I suppose, isn't it? Should we hold off? I'm going to hold off. Instinct is telling me to hold off one more room. All right, let's keep going. We need to check our torch. 6, that is all good. What's in the next room? We're just carrying on the route we've been going. It's another weak monster. Let's roll for room shape. 2, we've got a forward onward path. And actually, that's going to be a dead end because we've reached the edge of the map. So in here, we've got a trap. Traps are triggered or disarmed. All right, so we've got different challenges to do for each type of trap. We've got a puzzle lock. A magical puzzle must be solved. Ooh, we could get a scroll if we do it. Make a successful DR12 int save or suffer D4 magical damage. You find a random magic scroll. Alrighty, so we are subtracting 1 on int rolls. Luckily not subtracting 2, and we're aiming for 12. And that's what we've got. No, and we're taking 1 off, aren't we? Subtracting 1 takes us to 11, and that is not enough to solve the puzzle box. So it's triggered, therefore deactivated, but in our efforts to disarm it, we have taken D4 magical damage. You would assume, yeah, magical damage I'm assuming you can't avoid with armour. Luckily we only rolled a 2, so that means we're just taking 1 point of damage, which is taking us down to 5. And then we can carry on. We've got to backtrack now, that's a dead end. So we need to backtrack through these locations. We have got rules, I think, for backtracking, have we? I've just realised I could be searching empty rooms. Oh, empty rooms is only if you roll a 1. It's a shame you can't search a room after you've cleared it, but that would be too cool, I guess. I can't find the bit that says what you do when you're backtracking, but I'm fairly sure you just have to roll to check your torch, and then you'd have to encounter anything you hadn't defeated, but we've defeated everything that we've come across. So we're just going to roll for our torch for each room until we get to the room that will allow us to continue onwards into the dungeon. So here we go, rolling for this room. Remember, if we roll a 1, our torch decreases. This room, and then this room, and then we are ready to carry on into the next one. So for the next room, we need to roll the dice for the torch again. Oh, we have actually rolled a 1. So that means our light timer is going from a D10 down to a D8. So obviously each time we now roll, it will be more likely that we roll a 1 and then go down to a D6 or a D4. And if you run out of light, bad things happen. Luckily, we have got a light scroll, which I think will benefit us in that situation, but we don't need to think about that just yet. We can carry on and see what we've got in the next room. 8, a special room. Oh, we still need to roll to see how many exits we have. 4 gives us a left exit to the left of our entrance. And what have we got in this special room? We've got 8 options. An anomaly in time and space. Time flows strangely, echoes or repeats. Make a DR13 int roll. That's rough. Let's do it before we find out what the consequences are going to be. Oh, 20. That's a success. If we failed, we've lost our last found treasure. Don't think we found any. And we would teleport to the room we came from. If we succeed, gain a random treasure, and you may teleport to a chosen room already explored. You gain a treasure only the first time you encounter this room. No treasure by backtracking this room. Fair enough. Oh, so we have to re-encounter the special room if we come back this way? Which means there's always a risk of losing a random treasure when you come through here. But right now we've gained a random treasure. And it is a firebomb. Causes D10 fire damage. Can hit more than one foe at a time. That is very, very good news. So we just need to make a note that this is a special room. If I just put a little star here, it will remind me what this is, which is an anomaly in time and space. Let's keep going. We're now rolling a D8 for our light timer. 5, that is safe. Room type. 6, a tough monster carrying a treasure. Maybe I should have healed up before we came into this room. We can always run away if it's scary. We can always use our firebolt scroll if we need to. 5 gives us a room with a left and a right onward path. That's a shame because the left path is going to be a dead end down that way. So we're still just got one onward route, which means at any point we could encounter a dead end and struggle to continue. But we've got a tough monster in here. Here we go. So we're rolling a d10 to find out what the tough monster is. Where's my d10 gone? There it is. Is this our first tough monster? I think it might be. 1. Hopefully that means it's the least tough of the tough monsters. A mimic. DR12. 14 HP. Does 1d6 plus 1 damage. And as a special, we have to do a DR14 int save or it fools you. Take 1d6 plus 1 damage. Presumably that is just at the start of the encounter, and it seems to me like the mimic will likely fool us because our int score is not particularly good, and 14 is hard. Here we go. Yeah, 3. That is a fail. Means the mimic has fooled us, so presumably it looks like a chest, like your traditional mimic, and we've gone up excitedly. Tenrik has gone up to the chest in the hopes of finding some goodies, and that has not worked out, so he's taking 1d6 plus 1 damage. 2, so 3 damage. Let's see if our armour absorbs any of it. Oh, the armour absorbs all the damage. That's good news, because otherwise I think we'd be in a pickle here. So let's go into our first round of combat and see how we get on. We're adding on +2 since it's the first round and we're a goblin. Ooh, 2. That is bad news. 2, doesn't matter what we're adding on to that. We're still going to be taking damage. 1d6 plus 1 damage. 6, 7 damage. I think we're about to die here. Let's see if we absorb any of our armour. Ooh, so we're taking enough damage to kill Tenrik. Ouch. I should definitely have put my health back up. Let's find out what happens when your character dies. So we have a rare soul stone with us, bounded to our soul. If we die, we can resurrect as a half ghost and rebound with our dead body. If you die a 4th time, your soul has taken too much damage and it swallows you. So when you die, you are a half ghost until you find your body and reconnect. Well, I guess we're right there, right? In this form, you are immune to traps and magic, but monsters can see you. If you enter a room where a monster is left, they try to catch you. When you reach your body, roll on the resurrection table once for each soul stone you have used so far. Apply a penalty. Right, I mostly understand that. We'll have a go, and then if I make any mistakes, hopefully Heni will jump into the comments and let me know. So we're using a soul stone, so I think we are marking off one of those soul stones there. We resurrect with 10 points of current health. Now, I don't know this stuff about finding your body. I don't know if there's some situations where you end up not in the location with your body, because it says until you find your body, and you can move around the dungeon in your non-corporeal form. But my assumption would be your ghost sort of appears in the same location as your body. I guess that's the bit that's confusing me slightly. So we go back into our body. We need to roll on the resurrection table 1 time because we have used 1 soul stone. -1 stat. Oh, we got to roll d6 to decide which one it is. So we've lost -1 to our strength. That's a pity. And it says there's a 1 in 6 chance the monster that killed you stays. So if we roll a 1, that monster sticks around, otherwise he wanders off. Okay, so he wanders off. The mimic has wandered off, and we're free to carry on. So I guess that could have been worse, but not the best outcome. I would rather have killed the thing. But let's forge on, shall we? Into the next area. What room type have we got? 3. It is trapped. And we've got 2 onward routes. That's good. At least we've got 2 onward routes. 1 straight ahead of our character and 1 to the left. And this room is trapped. What kind of trap have we got here? Ooh, Howling Hollow. I think that's bad. the Howling Hollow remains in place. So whenever we go through this room, we don't trigger it or disarm it. Well, we do trigger it, but when we trigger it, that doesn't mean it's deactivated. So we've got a Howling Hollow. A deep hole emits a maddening howl that lures the mind to jump. Make a D6 int save. If you fail, you have to jump. You are dead, and your soul burns in hell forever. Rough. Here we go. Oh, and we have failed. We have failed at the Howling Hollow. 5 minus 1 is 4. That is less than 6. So we are compelled, Tenrik is compelled to jump into the Howling Hollow and plummets down into hell. What a bleak ending for Tenrik, our hero. Oh well, there you go. So in many ways it's quite a forgiving game. You have these soul stones that allow you to resurrect your character a number of times. I was all ready to carry on, and you got quite generous usage on the XP points. Like you can use you get quite a lot of XP, and you can use it to improve your character quite effectively. But if you come across the old Howling Hollow and you fail, there's not much you can do about it. But there you go, folks. I hope that gave you another idea of the sort of variety that Tenebris gives. I mean, it's really good in that sense compared to normal Dark Fort games. I mean, just looking through quickly to see the variety that you can get. We've got different boons and banes, 6 of each, which is pretty cool. We didn't use one of the pre-made characters, but you can use a pre-made character to get something balanced and interesting. A whole bunch of quests, so ostensibly 4 different types of quest, but you've got 3 different types of Dungeon Lord for the first one. But it would be cool, I think, if the Dungeon Lords, each one, had an effect they had over the dungeon. So depending upon the Dungeon Lord you rolled up, it's not just the Dungeon Lord that you face is different when you eventually get to them. If they all tweaked how the dungeon worked, that would be kind of cool. So maybe the Lizard Queen, in each room you have to roll a d6, and on a 1 you also face a lizard guard in addition to any enemies you face there, or something like that, and then each one could be different. That might be cool, but very cool nonetheless. Then you've got 8 different traps and 10 different encounters. I don't think we even rolled an encounter, but you've got 10 different types of special encounter that you come across if you roll a 7 for your room type. 8 different special rooms, 20 different monsters, so quite a generous amount of enemies. And then you've got these game mods at the end, which we didn't really look at. These are mostly about adding role-playing elements, so to make the game a little bit more like traditional role-playing rather than just rolling on tables. So you've got a yes-no oracle here, for example, a likelihood oracle. Yeah, you could sort of mix up what's happening and sort of control the events, or develop the events that occur. So you could say, what is the chances that... What did we face? What was the enemy we just faced? The Mimic. So you could say, what are the chances that the Mimic later on realises we're still in the dungeon and starts stalking us? And you'd roll, and it's yes, but. So that would mean, yes, the Mimic is stalking us, but we realise and we're able to lay a trap for it. And maybe we lure it into the Howling Hollow room. How likely is it that the Mimic will be drawn in by the Howling Hollow? You can roll that. 3, unlikely. Okay. And so you could do stuff like that. And there's some other ones here. How's the atmosphere? What's there? You might find an altar or corpses. And then think about what you could do with those things just to mix stuff up a little bit. Why? I'm not sure what the why table before. Maybe why is the enemy attacking you? Something like that, I'm not sure. And then some tips at the end, some iconography. Then you've got a couple of versions of the character sheet. So there's lots in there. And I know that Heni is continuing to support the game and develop modules and things. She has just released a set adventure, like a pre-programmed adventure where you have a map and each of the areas in the map is numbered, and you move through as if you are doing a choose your own adventure book, and when you go into area 5 you turn to paragraph 5 and you find out what's in there. So yeah, it's a cool little game to get into. Hope you enjoyed this playthrough, folks, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.